Hey guys, welcome back. Today we'll be talking about how to use limit switches and how to wire them. So in FTC, you could use limit switches to give the robot a signal if the limit switch is pressed down or is released. So when you buy something like this limit switch off GoBuilder, it may be a little difficult for you to understand what to do with it because it doesn't have any physical wires. So what GoBuilder actually wants you to do is wire this yourself. You'll see why in a sec. Alright, I moved the position of a camera a little bit. So moving on to actually wiring it, the two things you'll need, actually more than that, two main components is a JST PH cable and a limit switch. This one is from GoBuilder. This is the roller one. Alright, so what else you would need is something to solder these two things together. We're not going to show that in detail. There are many different tutorials online that can teach you how to solder very effectively and much better than we could ever teach you. Okay, so if we look at the limit switch in detail, so we have the three prongs sticking out. Those ports are labeled C, NO, and NC. Okay, so moving on to the JST PH cable, there are four wires: black, red, white, and blue. For this operation, we would only need the black and white cables. The red and blue wires are not going to be used and just isolated and put away. So first thing you would do is always, no matter what your specific circumstance, all you do is take the C port and then solder it onto the black wire, the first wire, black one. Okay, so this is actually an example that we soldered earlier. So if we can see, it's a bit messy, but if you can see, this black wire is connected directly to the first port, nothing else. All right, moving on. Depending on your use case, put the white wire on either the NO or the NC. If you were to connect it to the NO port, what it's going to do is the signal is released when the limit switch is closed. Okay, and the NC is the opposite logic. It gives the signal when it is open, not when it is closed. So depending on your use case, if you want it to be pressed down to activate, or if you want it to be open to activate, you would wire the white wire to either the NO or the NC. Okay, so once you have soldered the white cable to your desired outcome, NO or NC, you tie them off using some sort of insulating material like the tape over here. And then you take the red and blue wires and then you just toss them aside and wrap them into this bundle so it doesn't get in the way and it doesn't affect anything. So after we have the finalized limit switch, just take the end of the cable, plug it into the control hub, and then the control hub will now receive the signal when it is either open or closed, depending on NO or NC. And using the signal, you can do something like resetting an encoder in a linear slide system, or finding the position of a swinging arm.